This game wasn't expected to be close, and for the most part, in the second half, it really wasn't, but it looked like it was a much more competitive game in the final score. Kudos to Boise State's defense for not letting it get too out of hand. Notre Dame pretty much had their way with them. 4 costly turnovers from Maddox Matson, 4 picks. You can't win like that. The only solid drive for Boise State was in the second quarter. They were able to drive down 70 yards and score. But other than that, it'd be followed up by a pick going to halftime, and they'd have 3 more picks in the second half. The Broncos were 21, 22-point underdogs. They finished this score, having hit the spread. Defensively was, spot on for the Broncos. Notre Dame had a decent day, but it wasn't quite the day that they were hoping to have. Maddox Madsen would get the only score for the Broncos that day, rushing, but 4 picks, no touchdowns through the air. Just an ugly performance on his part. CJ Carr had a decent day, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Love had 103 yards and a touchdown himself. Boise State's defense, I can't talk about it enough. They were key into making sure this game didn't get too out of hand. 28-7 loss to a 21st ranked team, and runner-ups in the national championship last year. That's not too bad. Boise State wasn't expecting to win this game. They're hoping to have a better performance than they did, but it is what it is. I think they can go back and do conference play now the rest of the way, and feel confident that they are as good as advertised and that they can compete with the likes of the UNLVs, the San Diego States, the Fresno States. I would like to think that's going to be probably the worst performance we see out of Max Matson the rest of the way. I think he's going to be motivated in the weeks to come to prove that was a fluke, and they're better than that. And I expect the running game to work well against everyone else in the conference. I think Sire Gaines and Dylan Riley will get it going again and have impressive days later on this season. 28-7 is your final score. Notre Dame over Boise State.